Hey Ryan, saw a little bit of Will Sanders on the left side, Wilkin Formby at guard, and Michael Carroll at right tackle. Curious about especially Wilkin kind of cross training at guard and tackle, what you've seen out of him over the last few weeks to make that happen.
Yeah, Wilkin obviously has the athleticism to play inside and the size. So I think there's a couple things that happen for Wilkin in there. He is natural pad level because he's got his hand in the dirt, and he's got a good base and wide frame. So he's really done a nice job in there. So we're going to keep, working on that and expand. As long as he can stay right-handed, play on the right side, I think that the transition for him is easy.
Jump to the right side, Nick.
Yeah, the Caden Proctor play call, is that an Iowa guy giving another Iowa guy an opportunity?
Yeah.
Or what went into that decision there?
Well, I mean, KP, first of all, any play like that, the only way I do stuff like that is if it's guys that I trust. And obviously, Jeremy Bernard, KP are guys that are trustworthy, and they know if they trick off the rep in practice or, they're not good with the football and they're not secure, then we just won't do it. So KP took it very seriously. He knew he had the ball in the outside arm, knew how to protect it. I think he's a super athletic guy. I mean, it was just fun. I wish he could have scored, but the guys are excited to block for him. I knew he'd have a chance to run over, one or two or three people, and down there tight in the red zone. Those are tough yards to get. I thought it was a huge play. It was I think we're on the 13, and so you're first and 10 on the 13-yard line. You get a first down right there. Now you're first and goal on the 2. Those are tough yards down there. So I thought it was a good opportunity, not necessarily something they probably saw was coming.
Jumping back to the left side, Chase.
All offensive line questions so far.
Good.
So we're seeing you guys rotate on the offensive line. Conventional wisdom is just roll with 5 for cohesiveness sake. And y'all seem to not only be rotating, but the rotation seems to be expanding instead of contracting toward the conventional 5. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, we're just still not where we want to be yet. It's really that simple. And so I know the gel part, but we also have guys that wear down a little bit. So I'm trying to keep guys as fresh as possible and at the same time find the best 5. And so for us, I think there's a little bit too. You don't know what you got until you get some of those young guys in the game. Michael Carroll's got to play. Will's got to play, and we don't know how good they are or what they can do till they get in the football game. So we've been kind of falling back on that a little bit and seeing, that challenge, that competition, see if that can spur in a little bit more production.
Let's go to Katie, second row on the left.
One of the things y'all told us back in camp, why Ty won the job, is how well he'd done protecting the football through 4 games. He doesn't have a turnover. Just what have you seen from him in that area? And what's kind of the balance for the quarterback if you wanted to be aggressive and make plays, but also be smart with the ball?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a really, really tiny sliver in great quarterback play and understanding like when to be aggressive with the football, when to take care of the ball, and that's the whole thing. And that's what Ty is still working on. I think he's doing a really good job. And you'd rather work a guy back from that and have him make the aggressive throws and teach him those reads versus a guy that turns the ball over. So I know Ty has that aggression in him and has the ability to make those throws. So I just think he's operating at a really high level. He had one play. I thought the boot, obviously, early on the first drive back to his right was by far, Ty would tell you the same thing. It was the worst play he had all night. And, luckily it didn't get in their hands. But, for him, I thought that actually, dialed him in for the rest of the game. He's like, okay, I know what I got to do. And he made all those plays. He made all the reads that he needed to and didn't put the ball in jeopardy.
Go to Alex, back row on the right.
A little bit of a 2-part question. What do you think of Jam coming back? And then also, how do you get more explosive runs out of that running game that's consistently getting you 2 and 3 yards, but how do you get more out of that group?
Yeah, first of all, with Jam, his presence just at practice and, maturity, just – the work ethic that he brings was a huge part of the preparation part for the week, which is the most important part. And, on game day, obviously, when he's back there, he had a couple pressure pickups in the backfield where he was just so solid and knew exactly what the check was going to be. And I thought overall we did a really good job protecting Ty, and Jam's a huge part of that. So, obviously, clutch play at the end, but then running the ball, I just thought – he did a good job, dimpling for 4 or 5 yards at a time, when there wasn't huge creases in there, and we just got to do a better job finding ways to get him more of those one-on-one, matchups where the ball's on the corner, ball's on a safety. I think we got 4 of those in the game. You're looking to try to get 8 to 9 of those a game where you can get the football on a secondary player so that they can break a tackle and get into the open. And that's really it. We got to get through and get 6-on-6 on the inside somehow with our big bodies, and then find a way to get jam on those DBs.
Go to Ryan, front and left.
Hey, Coach, I'm going to stick with the offensive line theme. It looks like Georgia was doing a lot of twisting, and the communication was pretty solid Saturday.
Yeah.
What'd you see?
Yeah, just that. And I think that was a huge part of big emphasis. They do a good job, very creative scheme at Georgia. And so we knew that was going to be a huge challenge up front, is being able to communicate, especially not just the pressures, but the twists, as you mentioned, up front. And I didn't feel like even in the run game, I think we had three negative yardage runs or 0 gains. So, we weren't getting hit in the backfield, both throwing the football and running. And it always starts with the communication piece. And I thought, not necessarily the first part of the preparation, the first week, but I thought as the week went this last week, I thought they really dialed it in and did a good job. And, it all starts with Parker, and he does such a phenomenal job of that.
Let's go to Joe. Sorry, middle left.
Coach, sticking with the same theme of running the football, you used a lot of screens and misdirections and kind of rollouts. Can you talk about using those and getting creative to kind of extend the running game, finding other ways to get your guys the ball in space?
Yeah, as always, I don't think it's anything earth-shattering, but you get the defense having to run to the football, stress them out, get them moving to the sideline a little bit, and then you try to get vertical on them. And I thought we did a good job of stretching them and moving them around. And to Georgia's credit, they did their integrity on the inside remained the same. On some defenses, they'll compromise, and they held up pretty strong in the second half on that.
Right behind there, Travion.
Can you talk about, from an offensive line standpoint, not giving up any pressure, sacks, or anything like that? Can you just talk about what that does for the confidence of the group moving forward as Alabama moves forward in the SEC play?
Yeah, that's you said it well. Confidence. And when they execute against a defense like Georgia, to all the different pressures and stunts and looks that they got, because I thought Georgia kind of emptied the clip a little bit as far as looks and pressures and things that they did, and the guys responded. We drug up everything. We were pulling out clips from 2022 Ohio State game, and anything that we thought we could possibly see, we put out there at practice, and the guys were ready. And so I think moving forward, they know they can make the adjustments on the sideline, which is probably as important as anything, because there's going to be a look that we haven't practiced, and they did a really nice job of that.
All right, we'll finish up with Will, second row on the left.
Coach, I'm sorry to disappoint. It's not an offensive line question, but I wanted to get your thoughts on that breakaway play that Latsier made at the end of the first half, a situation where at first it looked like he could have been dead to rights behind the sticks in the middle of the field. Instead, gets 20-plus yards and gets out of bounds, helps keep that drive going in the way that he did.
Yeah, those are the kind of plays you got to have in a big game, obviously. You want to get the touches to the right guys, and Latsier is a guy that, is a missed tackle force machine, and that's one of the things we look at every week are who are the guys getting touches, who are the guys breaking tackles, because when it's not perfect, which it wasn't on that play, you need a guy that's going to somehow make the play for you. And Lottie is, since the day I've seen him running around out here, he's definitely got a knack to do that. So he's got good ball security. He plays through contact. He does not expect to be tackled. He's more powerful than people, anticipate, and he's just a really, really sudden guy. So he did a great job. Had a great game. Made some really good special teams plays too.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
All right, we'll have Coach Wommack make his opening statement, and we'll go ahead and take quick questions. Coach, whatever you need.
Okay, looking back on the game on Saturday, certainly proud of the effort of our players, a sense of urgency to lock your jaw and handle adversity. I thought we did that well. We faced some early adversity in the game, a couple explosive plays that we gave up, and I thought our players just stayed very locked in. Our sideline was fantastic in terms of the just how locked in our players were. The communication between players and coaches is what a sideline should look like, and I thought we took steps in the right direction there. We said we wanted to handle their perimeter game. That was something that they had done a really good job of. I think, we talked them in and out of a lot of different things off the perimeter, just with pre-snap alignments. So for the most part, we did a pretty good job there. But one of the things that we had to say, what we talked about as a key to victory was when the ball declares, we've got to take the air out of the ball. And I thought on the interior run fits, for the most part, we did that. But the ball rolled off the edge and created, 6 explosive plays for 171 yards. Outside of that, we had 26 rushes for 55 yards. So they averaged 2.1 yards per carry in those 26 plays. But those 6 rushes that the ball got outside on us and we didn't take the air out of the ball and gave really good athletes space to make a play, we didn't finish. And that is unacceptable, and we got to get those things fixed. In the SEC, you have to answer for the things that you put on tape, and we certainly are going to have to answer for those things. And then our last key to victory was we had to get the ball back for our offense, and certainly, tremendous job with our offense and the way they're moving the ball and what Ty is doing right now with the ball and executing. And so we got to get the ball back for them. And so we were able to do that predominantly on third downs. We were able to create a fourth down stop, and we were also able to create a takeaway where we got the ball down in the red zone. So some really good things in that regard. This is a very, very tough league that you have to show up for every single week. We have a tremendous opponent in Vanderbilt. The things that you put on tape, you're going to have to go answer for as the season goes on. And there's been some good things we've put on tape, but there's been some things that we're going to have to go respond to, and things that we're going to have to show we do a better job. We let a fake reverse the other night affect us. That was something that we had worked extensively in practice and had 2 guys that didn't do the right thing. And so those are the things that we've got to show that we're more consistent in the way that we take our practice to execution on game day. So looking ahead to Vanderbilt, I think this is a fantastic football team. I think they're playing highly efficient right now on offense. I think they have a great identity in terms of how they play team football. Diego Pavia is an exceptional football player. I think he has gone from being a really good playmaker to an elite quarterback. And I think, until you turn on the tape, you don't realize how much improvement you have seen from him from last year to this year. And it's really exceptional. I mean, the work that he's put in, the work their coaching staff has put in to make him an elite quarterback relevant to the SEC stage is impressive. He's completing almost 75% of his passes. They've created 53 explosive plays on offense through 5 games, which is exceptional. And he's also their leading rusher. They've got some dynamic threats. Their receivers are going up and making plays on the ball. Their tight end is very dynamic, Eli Stowers, who's their leading receiver right now. And so just highly efficient on offense and the way they're operating. They've got a ton of confidence, and this will be a tremendous challenge for us defensively. So we're excited for the opportunity and ready for the week of work.
Thanks, Coach. Let's start with Charlie, far right.
Yeah, Coach, just what do you think of the way that Yanze Pierre and Justin Hill played at Wolf on Saturday, and how big is that depth going to be with both Quay and Jamarian Al?
Well, I think, very proud of Yanze Pierre and Justin Hill. I mean, it's a lot to ask for a true freshman to come in and compete, especially in a road SEC game where, he had been getting a lot of reps in practice, but certainly we didn't anticipate him playing, whatever it was, 23, 24 snaps in the game. And he did a really good job there of going in, was very physical at the point of attack, made some huge block destruction plays on their tight ends, who I think Georgia has a very good receiving or tight end core. And so pleased with him, pleased with Yanze Pierre. Yanze is, I've talked about him in the offseason. He just keeps getting better and better. His ability to affect the run game, to generate some pass rush for us has shown up so far this season. But we're going to have to be creative in the way that we develop other people in certain packages to make sure that we have enough depth, and that's really the name of the game, right, is how do you each week handle your personnel to be able to create as much depth as you can for the next week's opponent. And certainly when you lose 2 experienced players like we did, that's a challenge.
Let's go to Chase on the left side.
Last year when Vanderbilt had running success in Nashville, you said a big reason was eye discipline, players on the front just not looking at the right things. Given that, is that eye discipline a big emphasis in practice this week?
Well, it is, but it hasn't stopped being a point of emphasis all last season. I thought we improved last season as the year went on in terms of our eye discipline, particularly in the quarterback read game, right? So when you look at option style football, right, there's a sequence of reads that go on from the quarterback position that he's looking from this position to that position, and if your eyes and feet aren't in the right place, right now all of a sudden the rest of the play breaks down. And so that's something that I think we have improved in certain areas, but you look at the game last year, you look at some of the things that we had some issues with that. Really more, it was less eye discipline against Florida State. It was more gap continuity, guys jumping out of gap at the last second, thinking that the ball's going to commit outside, and all of a sudden we jump out and the ball goes inside. So it was probably more gap continuity against Florida State than it was eye discipline. But that will be a huge emphasis for us in terms of what we've got to do. If you go look back at last season, even given the explosive plays that we gave up some in the run game, we gave up 3 yards per carry overall, which obviously if you do that through the season, right, that's good rushing defense. But we cannot allow 4, 5, 6 explosive plays to dictate how the rushing game went, which is exactly what happened in Georgia the other night. If you look at those 6 explosive plays that we gave up.
Go to Nick, front right.
Yeah, 2 if I can. First off, Ty made sure to come find you right after the game. Kind of walk us through, what that moment was like and also your relationship there. And then also this Vanderbilt offense, a lot of the same players, Cheryl, Stowers, Pavia, they gave you guys trouble a year ago, are back again. How much does that familiarity help in defending that?
Yeah. I've known Ty, since he was, 6 years old. And so certainly, this is a team that I think is playing with an edge right now. I think Ty is a huge piece to us playing with an edge. I think defensively we're playing with more of an edge. And so when you go do the things and put the things on tape against Florida State and then have to go answer the bell like we have the last few weeks and then get a road win on the SEC, it was a good moment, a special moment between him and I. And he's a fighter and a leader for our football team, and one that I just wanted to let him know that I recognize and appreciate all the work that he's put in to give us a chance to go respond and win on the road. And so that part was those are good. Those are special moments, and you appreciate those things. From when you look at this team, you've got a lot of similar players to what we saw a year ago. I think they have evolved. I think we have evolved significantly from where we were. Fundamentally, schematically, we're different from where we were at the beginning of last season, because I think good teams adjust to their personnel. And I think we have adjusted to our personnel and what we have defensively. They have done a great job of adjusting to their personnel and developing their personnel. They are a very different offense than what we saw from them a year ago, because of the things that Diego is doing in the passing game in particular. And so it's impressive how much he has improved as an overall quarterback.
Let's go to Alex, back middle.
Edric Hill got probably a little more run than expected with James going out. What did you see from his game, and how's he come along?
Edric played physical. He played hard in the game, which I think has been a marker of all of our guys. We played timid and on our heels in week 1, and I think we have, to this point, we have identified that and kind of rectified that a little bit in terms of the effort that we're playing with. But particularly when you're an interior D lineman, it's natural when the ball's on the perimeter or thrown downfield not to naturally burst to the ball, and I think Edric's doing a really good job with that, along with a bunch of our interior defensive linemen. Some of that youthful interior D line is critical. It was an area of concern going into the season, right? That we had youthful players that were on the interior that were going to have to step up for us. But then all of a sudden, you lose Tim Keenan, and then Jeremiah Beeman goes down, which makes for a very difficult situation. And I think those guys have really done a good job of straining in the week of practice to prepare themselves to give an opportunity on game day. And I think Edric played well the other night.
Let's go to the front left column.
Hey, Kane, who would you say has improved the most as a pass rusher over the past few weeks, and kind of what, I guess, schematically or at the line of scrimmage specifically, I guess, gives reason to the improvement?
I think, Jan St. Pierre has consistently gotten better as a pass rusher, and that's one area that we need, where I'm excited about, some of the things that he gives us from a pass rush standpoint. I think LT Overton, from where he was a year ago in generating, quarterback hurries to being able to finish in the backfield, not only on the quarterback, but he's also finished in the backfield on a number of run plays as well. And so those are areas that I think that we are improving as a defense. I've got to continue to find creative ways to generate pass rush. I thought we were able to do that at a much higher level the last few weeks, and certainly last week against Georgia, we were able to affect the quarterback and thus get off the field on third down. And so, those are going to be critical things for us moving forward.
Let's go to Katie in the second row.
The other guy that I'll tell you is Deontay Lawson is doing a really good job as a pass rusher. We're doing some things with him that we did with Jahad Campbell a year ago, and he's generating some pass rush. So give D-Law a little love there.
Similar to Nick's question, with some of the personnel being the same for y'all on defense and them on offense, is there kind of a pride factor or revenge factor with the defense after what happened last year that, or is that something you don't want them to focus on?
Well, I think if you have pride in the way you play defensively, this is a very, very good SEC opponent. And certainly I think you're always going to be aware of what a team did last year against you and how that matches up. They're a new offense. They're a new football team, and we're a new defense. We're a different defense. There's going to be certain carryover. I would imagine, we took a punch on the road in week one, and I think that we've got an edge to our football team right now in the way that we're preparing and the way we're playing. My job as the coordinator is to keep us on that edge as a defense, and I think that's the way that we're going to play on Saturday.
All right, let's finish up with Travion, far back.
Alabama played 44 players on offense and defense, 44 freshman players. Can you just talk about the trust that you're able to have in those players as they step up in those moments and fill in, through, whether it be injury or just fill in general?
Yeah, you just mean, we're playing a number of players from a defensive standpoint. Some of that, right, are situations where, barring injury, a guy has to step up in his role, and that's something that, credit to our coaching staff for getting some younger players ready to go play in those moments. I think we do have a number of players. There's not a guy on our defense that's playing perfect right now. Everybody is making mistakes. Everybody has things that they need to fix and improve upon. But I told our guys, good teams improve, and that can be for older players like Tim Keenan and Deontay Lawson. That can be for younger players like Justin Hill that just had more snaps than he probably anticipated playing in Athens. But good teams improve, and if we will have a sense of urgency to improve, and you show those things in the week of practice, you get to participate on game day. And I think that we've got a number of younger players that are doing that. Some guys on our two deep that belong on the field and have earned reps for game day. But to me, this will all come down to, as we navigate through SEC play, who improves the things that you put on tape from week 1, 2, 3, 4, and whatever this is right now, 5 for us, but 6 overall, versus the teams that don't improve and fix the things that they need to. And so I think we're taking steps in the right direction right now, but that will be the key to success.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys. Roll Tide.